full stop is also called as a period. Okay, so that is a dot in the end. Okay, so whenever you are using this direct speech, that is you are quoting the exact words of the speaker, so that time you use this comma. So whenever you are quoting the same words, then you use this quotation marks. Hello everyone, I am Dr. Shalini, Professor of English, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. Today we are here for the first language component session prescribed for first sem B.B.A. So to begin with, just consider this sentence. Okay, so we are going to understand various punctuation marks here. Okay, so let us start with a sentence. Okay, sentence, you already know that it is a group of words that gives complete meaning. Okay, so just consider this sentence, Ram has done it. Okay, so usually how do you write a sentence? You just write it with full stop in the end. Okay, it's like Ram has done it. Okay, so initially when you write a sentence, you just put a full stop in the end, isn't it? So if you replace this full stop by an exclamatory mark, okay, if at all that full stop at the end is replaced by the exclamatory mark, the meaning of the whole sentence changes, isn't it? How do you say this? Ram has done it. You express that shock or surprise. Okay, so one exclamatory mark changes the whole sentence, isn't it? Suppose I insert a question mark. Okay, so you ask a question. So here, how do you write it? Ram has done it, you cannot ask a question. Ram has done it, you cannot ask. You just have to put the helping verb in the beginning. So, has Ram done it? So, it's a question. You are expecting an answer. Okay, Ram has done it. Has Ram done it? So, the way you speak, the way you put the sentence, the voice modulation, everything changes. Okay, what is the reason? The only reason is because of the punctuation mark. Okay, in the end, whatever punctuation you have used, depending on that, you're going to change your voice. So, punctuation is one of the major aspects which you're going to consider while pronouncing a sentence, okay, while reading a sentence. Okay, we'll start with full stop. Okay, full stop is the most basic punctuation mark what you're going to understand. Okay, so here you can see we have full stop is also called as a period. Okay, full stop is also called as a period. Okay, so that is a dot in the end. Okay, so where and all is this full stop used? Okay, full stop is used at the end of the sentences. This you already know, isn't it? Full stop is used at the end of the sentences. Okay, it is also used in abbreviations. What is abbreviation? It's the short form. Okay, abbreviation also after initials. In your name you have this initial, right? So after that also full stop is used. Okay, so many people they write full stop just before the initial also, which is wrong. Okay, so you should be very careful while using that full stop. Okay, so here you can see this is the abbreviation. Television, TV is the abbreviation for television. It's a short form. So TV, you just put a dot here. Okay, so other example I can give you like BBC, okay, or you have this course only B.B.A or maybe B.Com. So this way whenever it is an abbreviation, everywhere you use this full stop. Okay, so for that and also for the initial, as I said. After the initial, you're going to use it here. Okay, you are not supposed to write it this way. Okay, you are not supposed to write it this way. Suppose you write it this way, it is wrong. Okay, suppose you write it like this, Ram S. Gupta is actually wrong. So this usage should not be done. Here, there is no need of a full stop. Okay, full stop is not required here. Only here you are going to insert. Okay, so after the initial you have to insert only because this has something that is shortened. Okay, so something that is shortened will have a full stop in the end. Okay, so S, after S, that is after the initial you are going to put a dot. Okay, then where else is this full stop used? It is used while writing a decimal point. Okay, so that is while writing this point. Decimal you already know, in math it is used. Okay, so while writing this decimal point also full stop has to be used. Okay, so these are three uses of full stop. Okay. Next, we'll move on to this comma. Okay. Comma is used in various places. Okay. So there are a lot of uses of comma. Okay. So first thing is a comma is used after each item in a series. Okay. Suppose you are writing about too many things, then you use a comma. How is it? Pineapples, comma, grapes and kiwis. Okay. There are few places like there at times you use comma here also, which is also correct. Okay. Before and also you can write comma. Okay. Even if you don't write, that is fine. Okay. So you have a series of items and there in between each item you use a comma until and unless you use a conjunction. Okay. If there is a conjunction, you need not have to use a comma. It is not very much essential. Okay. So that is one place. Then it is used before the year if the date follows as month, day and year. Okay. Reading the definition, I couldn't understand. So let us go for an example. Okay. So how do you do it? Suppose I write Jan 23rd, that is the month, date, okay, then the year. Okay. Suppose you are writing it this way and you are writing it in a long form. Okay. So you are not writing 01 here. You are writing the name of the month. So that time, in order to divide this date and year, that time also you put a comma in between. Okay. So whenever you are writing month, date and then the year, you have to put a comma after the date. Okay. So that you have to keep it in mind. Then a comma is used to separate a city from the state. Okay. Whenever you are writing a combination of city and a state. Okay. Then also a comma is used. So how do you use it? I live in Mysore, Karnataka. So don't use a comma there. That means Mysore, Karnataka will become one place. Okay. So you have to use a comma in between to separate the city from the state. Okay. So this you have to keep in mind. Next, a comma is used to separate the coordinate clauses. Okay. So what is it? Joined by a conjunction. Okay. So what is this clause and all? So it is a group of words that has a verb in it. Okay. So here you can say, I wanted to stay home. This is one sentence. Okay. My friend called me. This is another sentence. But in between you have used a conjunction. Okay. This but is called as a conjunction. Okay, conjunction are words that joins, is a word that joins a sentence. Okay, sentence or a phrase or anything. Okay, so in that case here you have to use a comma. Okay, so just before the conjunction you have to use a comma. Fine. There are rules for that also, which we'll be learning little later. Okay, so then it is used with salutations. What is salutation? How do you address a person is called as salutation. You have it in letter writing. Okay, so like how you start that letter. Okay, how do you address that person? Suppose you are writing it to your principal. You write it as dear sir or madam. Okay, suppose you are writing a private letter. Then also you use this. So how do you use it? Whenever you are writing your private letters, you use after this salutation. So how is that? Hi Vivek, comma, how are you? Okay, you have this usage, hi Vivek, in that private letter only. Okay, so respected madam, yes, you can use even in not only in private letters, you have in formal letters also. Okay, but very rarely it is used. Okay, so here whenever you are using with salutation, then also this comma has to be used. Okay, then a comma is used to separate direct quotation. What is direct quotation? Quotation you already know. When somebody says something, then that is called as a quotation. Means you are talking directly to that other person. Okay, so direct speech in that matter. Okay, so then we use this comma. So how is it? This direct speech separated by this reporting verb. Okay, so in between that we use a comma. Actually this is the actual word of the speaker. Okay, so get me some water. So we are telling here, we are writing here, he told, so or I told, get me some water. Okay, so whenever you are using this direct speech, that is you are quoting the exact words of the speaker. So that time you use this comma. Okay, just after the reporting verb, you use this comma. Okay, so after learning where to use it, you should also understand where not to use it. Okay, so where not to use it? We should not use comma only if two constituents of a date are given. Means two constituents of a date means only month and year. When you don't write date, but you're writing only the month and the year, then you need not have to write a comma there. Okay, Subhash was born in January 1885. You're not specifying any date there. Suppose like previously we saw Jan 23rd 1885. Okay, so if at all you're not using this, then you need not have to use a comma also. Okay, whenever you are not writing a date, you need not have to write a comma also. Okay, then where you should not use comma when you separate two adjectives. Okay, it is actually used to separate two adjectives and it can be inserted between them. Okay, so this is an exception here. Smith is a sweet, healthy baby. Okay, so suppose you don't insert a comma over here, that means sweet, healthy is itself becomes a word. Okay, so this also becomes an adjective. When you don't have this comma in between, this sweet will be describing healthy, healthy will be describing baby. Okay, that will be a confusion. Suppose you put this comma in between, then sweet is describing baby, healthy is also describing baby. Okay, so whenever you insert a comma in between, both the adjectives, they belong to the noun or the object that is there in the sentence. Okay, so it is a must that you put a comma whenever you are writing two adjectives. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one, that is the question mark. Okay, so most commonly question mark, it is always used whenever you ask a question, whenever you are writing an interrogative sentence. So whatever I have written here is an interrogative sentence. Okay, so under all these interrogative sentences or whenever you are asking a question, then you use this question mark. Okay, so may I ask you a question, or whenever you are writing a helping verb also in the beginning. Okay, is this hers? Does this bag belong to him? So like this. Okay, whenever there is a question and you are expecting an answer, all that time you have to write a question mark in the end. Okay, may I ask you a question? It's again a question. It is an interrogative sentence, so a question mark has to be used in the end. Okay, so next comes exclamatory mark. Okay, exclamation mark. So here you can see where we use this exclamatory mark. What do we convey with this exclamatory mark? So we convey some warning, okay, or maybe a shock or an excitement. Okay, so when it comes to warning, it's like be careful, an exclamatory mark. Okay, watch out for the traffic signs. After this exclamatory mark, in the end you have to put a full stop only. Okay, if at all you have already used a phrase with exclamatory mark, in the end you can put a full stop. So here, if at all you are writing, you are expressing shock. Okay, so then exclamatory mark goes to the end. Okay, so that's a terrible accident. Okay, so here you are expressing your shock. Okay, so here the exclamatory mark goes in the end. Then when you are expressing excitement, okay, you are happy, you are expressing the excitement. So how do you do it? Oh my God, what's inside? So it's just a phrase, you need not have to put an exclamatory mark in the end. Okay, so this is a phrase and you have already put it here, you have already used it here. So in the end of the sentence, you need not have to use it again. So it is exclamatory mark is there for a warning, a shock, or an excitement. Okay, so we also use this exclamatory mark to indicate strong feelings. Okay, so whenever we shout with anger or frustration or anything like that, so then also we use this exclamatory mark. Yeah, while speaking you will not have anything, but while you write it, then is the time you write this exclamatory mark. Okay, shut up, go away, stop, help. Okay, it's not the way I am telling here. I'll just say shut up, go away. Okay, so that time you use this exclamatory mark. Here also, stop, you're just giving a command, you're just shouting at somebody. Okay, help, you're shouting for help. So whenever you shout, whenever you put out your strong feelings, okay, so then all of a sudden you happen to scream, isn't it? So that time also you use this exclamatory mark. Okay, so then we go to the quotation mark. This is actually very important. Okay, so most commonly we make mistakes here. Whenever we are using this quotation mark, we make mistakes over here. So where are they used? These quotation marks are used whenever we are quoting the exact words of the speaker. Suppose I am telling a dialogue. Okay, I am talking something. So suppose whatever I say, you have to quote the same thing. Okay, so whenever you are quoting the same words, then you use this quotation marks. Okay, I mean to say it is used in direct speech. Okay, it is not in indirect speech. You are using this in direct speech. What does direct speech and indirect speech mean? Indirect speech is you are telling what others have told. Okay, suppose we both have spoken and you go and tell it to your mother, that is indirect speech. Okay, suppose you are telling what I said. Suppose you go and tell your mom exactly the words what I say and you are writing it down, then you have to use quotation marks. Okay, so what we both speak is direct speech. What you go and tell others is called indirect speech. Okay, in indirect speech, you do not use the exact words of the speaker, whereas in direct speech, you have to quote the exact words of the speaker. Okay, so here you can see here, she said, let's go. So here this is the quotation mark and this is the actual words that are spoken by the speaker. Okay, so there is one more thing you have to note here. Whenever you are using this quotation mark, make sure you don't put the punctuation that is there outside the quotation mark. It is wrong. Okay, even if you have a question, then also you have to put the question mark inside the quotation mark. Suppose I say she asked. Okay, I'm writing a question here. She asked, comma. Okay, then I say, what is your name? Okay, what's your name? Okay, here it is wrong if you write the question mark outside. First you have to write the question mark and then close the quotation mark. Okay, so here this question mark actually belongs to this sentence. That's the reason you have to put it inside the quotation marks only. Okay, question mark, that is a punctuation, is a part of this conversation. Okay, so that's the reason you put it inside the quotation mark. Even if it is an exclamatory mark, you have to put the exclamatory mark and then only close the quotation mark. If at all you have a full stop also, write full stop and then close the quotation mark as I have done here. Okay, so quotation mark, you should be very careful. So if at all you don't have that practice, like you're closing the quotation mark and then putting the punctuation, please stop doing it. You practice this. Okay, so yes, next comes the capital letter. Very easy, isn't it? The first letter of each sentence. Okay, after the full stop, the first letter of each sentence begins with the capital letter. This you already knew, isn't it? Then where else this capital letter is used? Okay, so we have to use capital letter whenever we are talking about the names of days and months. Also festivals. Okay, we don't use it with seasons. Okay, so here you can see Monday, M capital, November, N capital. This is day. Okay, so this is month. We use a capital letter. Then name of the festival, Christmas, that is also capital letter, but this should not be capital. Okay, we don't use capital here. You have to use a small letter only, that is the lowercase. You have to write it this way only. Okay, summer or winter or whatever. Okay, names of seasons, you don't use a capital letter. Okay, so these things you have to keep it in mind. And also we capitalize the first letter of proper nouns. Okay, so it has to be proper nouns. Okay, so what are proper nouns? The names given to people or place. Okay, so what are proper nouns? Proper nouns are those names. These are the names given to people, names of people, okay, or places. Names of people and places. Okay, for example, you can take Mohan. Okay, you capitalize the first letter. Suppose you're talking about some place. Here also you're capitalizing the first letter of the proper noun. Okay, so we use the capital letter for the first letter of the proper noun. Okay, so then we also use this capital letter for titles. What are titles? So here, suppose you are writing a title for Mohan, it can be Mr. Here you are capitalizing. Okay, suppose he is a doctor, you write that also. Dr. Mohan. Okay, again D capital, M capital. You're writing professor, there also P should be capital. So professor, doctor, Mr, all these are called as titles. Okay, Mr, Mrs, also Mrs. Mohan if you say. Okay, so there also M should be capital. Okay, so these are the titles, Mr, Mrs, Professor, Doctor, all these are called as titles. So there also you have to write the first letter in uppercase. Okay, so we have learned about punctuations in this session. We have learned about periods, that is full stop, comma, exclamatory mark. Then we have also learnt about quotation marks and also capitalizing the letters. Okay, so this was all about the punctuation. Next session we'll be dealing with prepositions. Okay, so let us meet again in another more interesting session. Okay, so take care. Till then, keep learning. Bye bye. See you soon.